Hey guys, how's it going? Today we're going to be talking about one of the most important things about when you're looking for a new hairdresser or when you're going to get your hair cut, and that's the consultation. And you know, getting a good consultation, that's how you're going to get a good haircut and you're going to find a hairdresser that you're going to really like and stick with for a long time. Okay, so how many times have we all heard, you know, oh, my hair is really difficult to cut, or, you know, oh, my hairdresser always messes up my hair because he doesn't understand it, or, you know, my hairdresser just sucks. You know, we've all heard that a million times. But, you know, that's really just an easy excuse. Often it's nothing to do with either of those things. You know, your hairdresser's going to understand your hair if they've got good qualifications, and, yeah, you know, there's some pretty bad hairdressers, I'm sure, but a lot of hairdressers are not bad. And your hair's not, you know, not bad either. So, you know, a lot of the times it's all in the consultation. And, you know, it's really one of the most important parts of the haircut. So, you know, today I want to talk a little bit about the consultation and just, you know, how you're going to get a good consultation and how to approach a consultation. Okay, so, you know, to demonstrate like a sort of silly example about how important a consultation is, if I draw a kind of stick animal, you know, and then cover it up and then just describe the animal to you and ask you to draw what I'm describing, the chances are we're not going to come up with the same drawing, right? You know, and this is essentially what we're trying to do with a haircut. You know, we go in and we say, oh, I want a few layers here and I want this bit short and this bit long. But depending on two people's interpretation, it's difficult to get on the same page. And in fact, you know, haircut is much more abstract than a silly stick animal. So, you know, you think that's going to be quite difficult. Imagine trying to get a haircut the same. So, you know, that's why consultation can be so important, and it really makes a difference between a good haircut and a bad haircut. Okay, so, you know, approaching a consultation, how do you go about getting a good consultation? How do you know if you are getting a good consultation? Because it's a two-way street, you know, it's not all in the client and it's not all in the hairdresser. So, you know, but first up, what it kind of is a little bit on the client is make sure you get your appointment on time, because, you know, if you're asking a hairdresser to cut hair, we've generally got times in the salon. You know, most salons will give you a specific time, like 45 minutes or an hour, including the consultation, to get a client in and out. So when you're looking at that time frame, make sure you're on time, because if things start running behind, if people are late, I can't, you know, as a hairdresser, I can't get halfway through a haircut and say, wow, don't worry about the fringe, we haven't got time for that. So the first thing that's going to be cut is we're going to rush through that consultation. So, you know, try and get it on time, and then hopefully you'll get a good consultation. And then on the hairdresser's point, you know, if you're looking for a new hairdresser, if you get a hairdresser who doesn't really seem to pay much attention to you, doesn't really seem to be that interested in a consultation, I'm not going to say they're a bad hairdresser, but I am going to say be quite wary. And, you know, perhaps, you know, it's not a bad way of kind of sounding out who's going to be kind of decent at cutting your hair and who's not, I would say. Okay, so now we're going to get on to some tips. So, you know, number one, don't feel intimidated. I know sometimes, I mean, you walk into a salon, I used to do it all the time. I came to hairdressing like later in my life, so I've been on both sides of the chair. And I used to walk into a salon and I used to hate it. I used to feel so intimidated by the hairdressers. You know, you feel like, oh, if I say this, is he gonna kind of, or are they gonna think I'm, you know, stupid, or are they gonna, am I saying the right things? Don't worry about it. You know, I deal with like me personally, and every hairdresser deals with so many people all throughout the day, and everyone's different. And some people, they really know their hair. You know, they really care and really kind of nerdy about their own hair. And they'll really kind of give you tons of information, and others, they don't really know anything. You know, they just kind of go into the salon and they're going like, oh, you know, I just want my hair cut, which was kind of what I used to do. You know, I used to be like, oh, I don't know, just cut my hair, please. You know, so, but don't feel intimidated, because there's no reason to. You know, so we deal with people all different sorts, with all different backgrounds, and, you know, just be honest. If you're not really sure, just say you're not really sure. It's no problem. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to try and, you know, try too hard. It's no worries. It's no problem. Seriously. On that point, though, you know, it's good to go prepared. So, you know, kind of the second point would be research, and probably the most important point is to bring pictures. You know, like we were saying earlier about that kind of silly stick animal. bring some pictures with you. And something that I used to do, and others possibly do as well, is you'll spend hours on the internet looking for that perfect picture of that, the perfect haircut that you want. You don't need to do that, actually. I realise that, in fact, it's much easier just to sort of pick and pull from different pictures. So if you find a fringe or bangs in one that you like, or in another picture you find like the side profile is really nice because it shows off some layers that you quite like, or etc, etc. That's fine. Just bring 4 or 5 pictures, whatever, and say I like the fringe in this one, but I don't like this bit, and I like this part from this one, and I like the layers in this one, and we can piece that together then, and then we can build up a picture of together of what we're going to make for you. So you don't have to find that perfect picture. It's no problem. And on a kind of side note, with looking on the research, next point sort of segues into the next point, which is terminology, and that's when you are researching online, for your hair, you're going to come across a load of different terminology. You're going to come across terms like layers, concave layers, round layers, and that's fine. And use those words because it's a good starting point for the two of you to get an understanding of what you want out of your hair. But when you do use those terms, like some of the more complicated terms sometimes. Some people will come in and just say layers, but some people will say, oh, I want concave layers. And that they've been looking this up online, but it's important to make sure that you both have the proper understanding or the same understanding. It doesn't have to be the correct understanding of a concave layer. It just has to be the same understanding. So make sure you illustrate your point. So when you say, oh, I really like these concave layers, or I really like these layers, or any terminology that you use, make sure you're backing it up with kind of examples and kind of fleshing that out and colouring the picture in. And make sure your stylist is doing the same with you. Make sure, if you throw out a term, make sure your stylist is kind of listening to you and explaining his understanding of those terms, or her understanding of those terms as well. Because, I say, it's just all about getting on the same page, really. And terminology can be it can be a really helpful tool to be able to know these terms, but it can be dangerous as well when you start kind of pitching them out without explaining, because although they're more technical terms and you're narrowing it down, it's still, hairdressing is such a vast subject that it can be, you're never sure if you're narrowing it down to the same thing or you're narrowing it down to 2 separate things between you. So always kind of flesh out those terminologies and things like that. So when you're doing your research, great, but be careful. And the kind of last point really is your own hair. What do you like about your hair and what don't you like about your hair? And this is one of the most important things. You're going to a hairdresser to get your hair changed. So what is it that you want changed? Why don't you like something in particular? Like, for example, oh, I don't like my bangs because they always get in my face. I don't like this bit because it does that. And then on the flip side, what you do like, I love my bangs because they just fall like this, or I love this bit because it falls like that. Explain what you like and what you don't like, and that's so important because just from saying, oh, I don't like this, sometimes, like as a hairdresser, I can snap and go, right, brilliant, I understand, because you can really narrow down what you like and don't like. You can really narrow down a haircut that's going to suit you and be personal to you and really work for you, as opposed to kind of you having to spend hours in the morning trying to sort it out. Let's say for you, when you're looking for a new hairdresser, make sure they're giving you a good consultation. Make sure that everything that I've addressed today, they're addressing with you, because it's not up to you really. It is a two-way street. It's a conversation, but make sure your hairdresser is addressing these points, because these points are very basic in a consultation, and they should be doing this with you. If they're not, be wary. If they are, great, go with them. And if you understand the steps as well, then you two can work together and you can get a great haircut. And that's about it, really. That's it for consultations. It's really that simple. Pictures, pictures, pictures are probably the number one thing, but take everything as a whole, and I hope it helps. If you want to get in touch with me about any of this sort of stuff, ask me any questions. I'm happy to answer questions. You can bang something in the comments. You can get hold of me on my blog at lemonsodahair.com. You can send me, on Twitter at lemonsodahair. Ask me any questions if you want any more detail about anything. Always happy to answer questions. Please subscribe if you like watching this kind of stuff. And thank you very much. Cheers for watching.